Hello, hello. What's going on? Oh, we got some feedback. Um, I welcome you to the rendered image after dark. How you guys doing? If you're joining, this is the show where we talk about movies, movie news, what I've seen, what I like, what I don't like, and my opinions on things, and we talk about fun movie stuff. I'm working on a thesis film. And so I will show you a little bit behind the scenes of how all that's going. And yeah, I need to fix the output of my audio because I can hear myself, and that's annoying. But anyways, so yeah, we got a few topics that we're going to be talking about today. I encourage you guys, if you're new here, you can subscribe if you enjoy this content. If you like hanging out and talking movie news, go ahead and subscribe. If you want to drop a like, that would be cool too. But I really, really encourage you to get into the chat. If you have a YouTube account or you have a Google account or a Gmail, whatever, you can go into the chat, scroll down on your phone or computer or wherever you're at, and you can talk to me in the chat. And so that's kind of how the show is set up, where we kind of bounce back and forth. I really like to engage with my audience as much as I can. We are a small channel right now, so we have the ability and the luxury to communicate together. And so that's kind of how the show is really built. Is I will kind of bring up topics that interest me in the film world, and but we can also get topics from you guys, and we can talk about whatever interests you, whether it be movies or, I mean, I want to strictly kind of keep it to movies and filmmaking during the show, and on this channel is kind of strictly movies and filmmaking. But yeah, it's a real chill, kind of laid back stream. So if you enjoy this type of thing, I think you're in the right place. We'll be talking about some Spider-Man No Way Home news, which is very interesting. And I wasn't going to talk about this originally, but it gained so much buzz over the last week that I have to talk about it. The rumor, it's a rumor, but it just kept growing and growing, and like, I have to talk about it. I have to. I'm sorry. I was going to keep it. I wasn't going to say anything. If you don't want spoilers for Spider-Man, and again, this is all rumor, so it may not be a spoiler. We don't know if it's going to actually happen or not, but you know. I saw Mortal Kombat, so I'm going to give you my honest opinion about that movie. And I have a lot to say. That discussion will go on for a while. And then I will show you my thesis project and kind of give you the ins and outs on the creation of that. We are in early pre-production right now. The script is being finalized, and yeah, I got some interesting, fun bits to show you that I'm really working on. We got most of our cast, so that'll be the end of the show, I think, after that. And then whatever else you guys want to talk about, we can talk about. But with that being said, I hope that everyone has had a great week. And everyone is enjoying the weather. The weather's getting a lot nicer. I know it was raining a little bit ago. I actually don't mind the rain. I wonder if we're gonna get a dry summer, or if it's gonna be not, like a kind of back and forth summer. I'm curious to see what kind of summer we're gonna get. We haven't had a really hot, dry summer here. I'm in the Midwest, so we haven't had like a really hot, dry summer here in a long time. So I don't know. For some reason, I feel like we're gonna. I don't know. I don't think we're gonna have a dry summer. I'm getting off topic. I apologize. That's kind of what happens on the show, but not that often. It's strictly more film related. But thank you guys, anyways, so much for being here. If you're new here, you can drop a like. That really helps the show get out to more people and lets YouTube know that there's engagement on the channel and that people enjoy this content. So if you enjoy this content, if you like Spider-Man, hit that thumbs up button, because I'm very hyped for Spider-Man, which is our first topic. So if you guys don't mind, well, I think we'll get right into it. So as you may know, there are a ton of rumors going on about the villains of the new Spider-Man movie, right? The Tom Holland Spider-Man movie by Marvel Studios, or Sony/Marvel Studios. And there's a rumor that dropped earlier this week, or last week. It was a rumor last week, but it's gained so much So much momentum that it just blows my mind. So there's an article here. Again, this is a rumor. I will give you my thoughts on this after I read it, but I will read the article. It's pretty short. It says, last week, Disney and Sony finalized a deal that would bring Spider-Man movies to Disney+. There are some finer points to the deal that have gone under-mentioned and haven't been fully analyzed yet. While they may not seem like a big deal now, they will prove to be in the future. While I will explore some of these in the future as more information comes to light, we can start to dive in and explore parts of it. In particular, I can exclusively share that Marvel Studios has shared rights with a huge character from the Spider-Man and Marvel at large mythos, Norman Osborn. Obviously, you saw it in the thumbnail, so that's not like, oh, that's not in the title of the video, obviously. So this is obviously huge news. We've known that if you follow the MCU, you know that Kevin Feige, who's the head of Marvel Studios, he's wanted Norman Osborn in the MCU for a very long time. If you guys don't know, back when they made the Andrew Garfield Spider-Man movies, they were so close. It almost went through. They were originally going to have the Oscorp Tower that's in the Amazing Spider-Man 1. They were going to have that tower be in Avengers, because the Amazing Spider-Man came out in 2012, and then the Avengers came out in 2014, the same year that the Amazing Spider-Man 2 came out. And if you guys don't know, they were very, very, very close to actually putting the Oscorp Tower of that movie into MCU's Avengers movie. So I think, so it almost happened way back in the day. And it's so funny to me to think about, like, well, what could have happened, you know? Like, what if Norman Osborn was in the universe, like from the Avengers, you know, like I don't know. That's crazy. But this is huge news. I've wanted Norman. I've wanted Norman Osborn, and I've wanted Spider-Man's rogues gallery and kind of his world to be more a part of the MCU. I feel like, which with the Sony deal, and I'm positive that it's going to happen. I mean, this is the direction that it's going. But early on, it felt like Spider-Man was kind of, and he was. I mean, that's just how the contract, you know, because Sony shares the rights to Marvel, right? They're like, oh yeah, you can use him and like some of his rogues gallery. But now it seems like the balloon has popped, if you will, or the doors have been burst wide open. And I think Marvel is going to be able to use just about anybody they want to, from what it seems like. And having Norman in the world opens up a ton of possibilities, right? And I'm not going to go into all of them because I don't want to spoil everything. But the biggest thing, we'll continue reading because there's more juicy bits here that we know Norman Osborn was played by Willem Dafoe in the Raimi films, is making his Marvel Cinematic debut. So that's the big reveal here, okay? Is that it's rumored that Willem Dafoe, the original Green Goblin, will show up in the MCU for the new Spider-Man movie. And that's crazy. It says, many people have questions about what this means for the MCU. Part of this new deal means that Marvel has access to characters they didn't have before, which is what I stated previously. Norman Osborn / the Green Goblin was one such character. Disney and Marvel Studios have wanted to use him, but his rights were exclusively with Sony, meaning Sony were able to use him in full, but Marvel Studios, up until last week, couldn't. So this is like super new, okay? Like this is epic. This is big time. Obviously, things got murky with the inclusion of Willem Dafoe's Goblin, but that has sort of softened up Sony to the idea of sharing the character. Okay, sorry, I keep using the wrong keyboard. Marvel Studios' plan was to bring in Willem Dafoe as the primary villain of Spider-Man No Way Home. Now, this says that it was their original plan. again, that's a rumor. It's been rumored that Willem Dafoe's Green Goblin is going to be the main villain of this Spider-Man movie. I don't believe it's going to be. I believe he'll be in the movie. He'll be a significant role, but I don't think they're going to make him the main villain. Just because, and the only reason why I say that is because he was already a main villain of his own movie, right? Like the first Spider-Man movie. So it seems weird that they're gonna backpedal and make Willem Dafoe a main villain again. He'll probably be a big role, and if they're doing multiverse stuff or whatever, he's definitely gonna be a big role. And I mean, if you're gonna do the multiverse, if you're gonna bring Doc Ock back, why not? And if Sony's literally giving you the go ahead and saying, yeah, like pretty much you can use any character you want now, like we've penned that deal, like it's all good, we're good. Then yeah, why wouldn't you? If you're gonna bring Doc Ock back, if you're gonna bring in Jamie Foxx's Electro, which are confirmed by the way, it's not a rumor, like they're in the movie, you're gonna go try to get the original Green Goblin, of course. So I'm gonna say 97% that Willem Dafoe is in the new Spider-Man movie for sure. I don't know how big his role is, but he gonna be in the movie, I guarantee you. And the other reason why I say that is, most people are like, oh, rumor. The reason why I say that is because if multiple people start reporting these things and you start hearing things from different sources, usually where there's smoke, there's fire. And just when things keep creeping up, and all week long, people like from multiple sources have been reporting that Willem Dafoe's Green Goblin is in the new Spider-Man movie. And when things like that just left and right, and so many sources hear that, it just it is true. Like it ultimately becomes true. I did listen, or I looked at a plot leak for the movie. I'm not going to go into plot details because whatever, like I'm going to keep that, but it sounds pretty exciting. I believe the plot leak too, because again, things get leaked. I mean, we just live in that world. Things get leaked. But yeah, so that's pretty much just like what this article was talking about. So yeah, that means that there would be a different Norman Osborn in the MCU. And so they have, where is it? Okay, it says, so this is the interesting part, right? So there is going to be another Norman Osborn in the MCU, besides Willem Dafoe. But it says, Marvel has offered the role to an actor who has not yet accepted the role. The actor is a prominent New Yorker who has a history with Marvel Studios. When or if the deal is finalized, we'll share more. So they've reached out to somebody, and they haven't accepted the role yet. So that's very interesting. I don't know what that says about just Norman as a whole in the world, but there's all sorts of crazy stuff that can happen with this. I mean, Norman's got to come in. I'm assuming that you're going to position. If it was me, I would position Norman as one of the next big bad guys. Like there's rumors also that if you're gonna burst the doors open, and if you're gonna have everybody come back, even people, it's rumored that people from the Netflix shows are coming back. It's rumored that Charlie Cox's Daredevil's coming back. It's like Bernthal's Punisher is rumored to be back in the universe. So it's like, if you're gonna bring people back, like bring them all back. Why not? Like, let's just do it. Get them all under the same roof. You got the Fantastic Four, you got the X-Men, like you're good to go. Like it's game time. Like, and that's been Kevin Feige's plan. Kevin Feige is like, yeah, give me Spider-Man back. Yeah, okay. Oh, awesome. I got the X-Men. Oh, give me Fantastic Four. Okay, cool. Now we have, that has been there. I truly believe that's been probably ever since Iron Man. And well, ever since these films got popular, because you have to understand that in the 90s, Marvel wasn't doing very well. So they sold off all their rights to their characters. And they said, yeah, sure, go, like, they sold the rights, and they said, yeah, go make movies, like whatever. For some reason, they didn't see the potential, and the technology really wasn't even there up to date back then enough to make it believable, but they sold off all their rights. And ever since they did that in the early 90s, I think and X-Men and Sony was making, I think ever since then they have been doing whatever they possibly can to get their properties back. And who wouldn't? Like, it's sad that Marvel had to like give away all of their superheroes for the not all of them, but a good majority of them for the most part. So, but yeah, just have them all come back home and we can all have a party and it can be fun and the X-Men can come play. And yeah, that's what I want. And like I said, I'm a big Spider-Man fan. So you bring in his rogues gallery, you bring in Willem Dafoe. I mean, this is what I was talking to my friend Zach about, like the theater experience of this new Spider-Man movie. I told him, I was like, this is going to be for me personally, I think this is going to be like the best theater experience of my life. Like you're already bringing back Doc Ock. These are childhood memories for me. These are what's the word I'm looking for? These are portrayals. Sorry. These are portrayals of characters for me that go so deep into what inspired me to make films and what's inspired me to learn about filmmaking and like benchmarks in my life and all sorts of things. So and I cannot tell you how many times I've watched Spider-Man, the Sam Raimi Spider-Mans in particular, over and over and over again. So, I mean, to have these guys come back, it's incredible. But yeah, this is exciting. I want Norman Osborn in the world. I also know, or there's a little bit more to the rumor, but I'm not going to say because I'm going to keep it because I don't want to spoil a lot. So, but yeah, I see we have some people in the chat. We got some people in the chat. So I think they're all just saying, yo, yo. Yo, yo, Emmett says, what's up, T-Baby? I'm doing okay. I'm doing all right. And then, yeah, Armand's here. Wonder what the music will be like. That's a good question. It's a good question. Is that a reference to the music that we're doing for the thesis? No, but I have high hopes for this movie. I hope it doesn't let me down. We'll have to wait and see. Kiwan is here. What's up, Kiwan? But yeah, let's move on. You know what I'm saying? Let's move on to the next topic. I don't even know what time it is. Let's check. It hasn't even been that long. But this topic is pretty short. And I know we've talked about Spider-Man in the past. So I don't want to really dwell on Spider-Man too much. But so let's move on to the topic of Mortal Kombat. Okay? Now, Mortal Kombat. I've seen it. And I'm going to give you my review of the movie right now. You're probably thinking, all right, Tyler, what'd you think of Mortal Kombat? Now, no spoilers. I'm not gonna do spoilers for this movie. Because if you want to watch it and you haven't seen it, like, that's fine. I'm not gonna spoil you. I may persuade you to think a certain way after I'm done speaking about this movie and giving you my opinion. And again, I'm not saying that I'm right. I'm not saying that I'm wrong, but I believe that I'm the critiques that I have for this movie are justified. And that's just, but I understand it in the scope of what it is, right? I've explained on the show before that I understand that it's a video game film. I understand the IP and the property for what it is. But still, that doesn't excuse it from, it still has to hit certain things to be a good movie. So if you guys don't know, I wasn't a fan. I wasn't a fan of this movie. And it's sad to say that I wasn't a fan. Now, a couple things we gotta say up front. One, I understand making movies, especially during this time period with the pandemic and everything that's going on. It's really hard. It's hard to make movies in general. Like, most people, if you've ever tried to make a movie, it's not easy to do. And the reason that is, even if you have even if you have hundreds of millions of dollars, it's not easy to do because there's, just like anything, there's moving parts to this machine. And some things, and also too, there's a bunch of other things. I think there's pressure, right, on the filmmakers to go, get it done, get it done, get it done. We've shifted the way that we make films, right? And it's shifting. We used to make films one way, then it shifted, and then we started making films another way, and then it shifted again in the early 90s, and then we did that for a while, and then it shifted again in the early 2000s, right? Or what, it's shifted more towards like popular IPs, and like these budgets have ballooned and everything like that. And now it's shifting again, where I think it's taking an interesting turn where if I was, I mean, I don't know. I mean, Hollywood needs to figure it out. Hollywood needs to get it together, and that is for many, many reasons. These budgets in these movies are way too big, and they need to. The problem is they set release dates, and then they have to meet these release dates, because, and it's a money game. It's a money game. It's like, we have to get this movie out because we need to make this much money for the quarter. You know what I'm saying? Like, we need, our quarterly report, like, we got to make X amount of dollars. And like, that's not why you make movies. You don't make movies, at least artists like me and like all the other filmmakers in the world, like, and that's the clash, right? Like, we want to make movies, and we don't want, like, if there's a release date looming over your head, you're going to sacrifice things, because you're like, okay, well, the studio said that, like, we got to release on HBO Max like April whatever, and it's like, oh, but man, the VFX aren't done, right, or whatever. But this also goes into the discussion of quality. Okay, so they released Mortal Kombat in theaters and on HBO Max, which is a streaming service. Now, at the same time, the budget for this movie was like $57 million, which in retrospect, compared to a bunch of others like popular IP movies, is not a lot of money. Like, when I found out that the budget for that movie was $57 million, one, you can tell when you watch the movie and you go, oh, that was made for $57 million. Oh, okay. I can tell, because it didn't really look that great. Like, it looked fine, but it didn't, like, I will say, like, the VFX that they pulled off, knowing that now it was $57 million they had to work with, I'm like, oh, like, bravo. Like, those guys worked their asses off. Like, that, like, it looks good for the amount of money they had, straight up. Like, but there are some sequences that fail. There are some parts of, I'm purely talking about VFX, but the thing that I wanted to, my original point was, who's doing the quality control? Because you may have, again, a lot of people. I watched it on a television. Okay, I streamed it to the TV, but a lot of people probably watch this stuff on their phone, and that's just the truth. That's something that all content creators need to kind of come to grips with, and need to understand that, like, the majority of people that are going to watch your content are watching it on a phone. Maybe they're watching it on a TV, but the idea or the mystique of playing in a movie theater or playing in a multiplex and playing on the big screen, I think that's becoming less and less of a thing as time goes on. I think movie theaters are going to be around. I don't think they're going to go anywhere, but, like, the majority people in my generation and the future generations, we make content for the small screen, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that, right? And you have to kind of understand, like, I'm not gonna shove the theater experience down somebody's throat who didn't grow up with it, right? Like, if a kid wants to watch something on a small screen, that's how they grew up. They don't know any better. They don't know any, not that they don't know any better. They just don't know any different, and that's okay. This is how you experience your media. Just because it's not how I experienced my media. Same thing with physical media, right? Like, I have my Blu-rays and I have my whole, like, Logic case full of my Blu-rays. I don't really buy physical media anymore, but that's just because it's being phased out. It's not available as much anymore, you know, and it won't be. I mean, talk to me in 2 to 3 years. You're not going to have Blu-rays aren't going to be around. 4K, they might be, but like, it's just, if you kind of pay attention to where things are going in terms of media and media consumption, you realize, you know, we're headed for new territory. And that's kind of what Hollywood's doing. Hollywood right now is, and they're trying to figure out what to do, because they're gripping so hard to try to hold on to the way things used to be. You know, they are, and they're scrambling. It's hard for them to make this transition. And if you guys can come to the show, and if we can have an honest discussion about where our industry is going, like that's awesome. Like that's the goal for this channel, is to be super open with creative struggles and being honest about where we see our industry going. That's a huge part of this channel. So I will always be open with you. I will always give you my opinion and where I see things going. Now, that was kind of a tangent. Now, more back to the movie. I thought the movie had major issues for the reasons I explained. I think, yeah, definitely. You know, Ahmed says making good movies is hard. Making good movies is hard, but I don't think it's rocket science, right? It's very hard, but like I said, I don't know, there's moving pieces, and everybody that makes movies wants to make the best movie they possibly can. But also, too, we got to talk about studio interference. That's kind of the thing. Whenever I watch a movie, you can almost never tell. Unless you can watch something, you can definitely tell when a studio interferes with a movie, for sure. Sometimes they have to, because they just have to save a movie. Other times they do it, and they kind of burn the original director's vision, which is not good necessarily. But it all depends, right? I think I lost my train of thought, but like, let's just get down. So the movie, I had problems with the pacing. I thought the pacing in this movie was ridiculous. Like, I understand it's a Mortal Kombat movie. I understand it's like, oh, we got to have a fight every like 5 minutes. Like, if there's not a fight every 5 minutes, even if there's not a fight, like, we got a problem. Like, I don't know who on the creative team thought that was a good idea, but that doesn't work. Like, I understand that's what your IP is, but like, tell me a story. I don't want to see a fight every 5 minutes, and that doesn't make a good movie. Now, and I understand this. There are people out there who love the movie, and that's cool. I'm not saying that you can't love the movie, but what I am saying is that for me, I wanted more. I expected more. I knew going into the movie that it was going to give me the bare minimum of what I wanted. I was like, all right, it's going to give me some fighting. Okay, cool. But this is a major motion picture. These are major players. This is a major studio. Like, they're not new to making movies. So, and it's interesting because it's like, I expect more. These studios aren't new to making movies. I understand it's hard to make movies, but they know how to make films. So it's so strange to me. And I'm gonna be honest. I don't know what the story was of this movie. I couldn't give you a plot synopsis, but I don't understand the reason behind why any of the characters in this movie did anything that they did. I have no clue. Why did we, we're supposed to go somewhere, and then someone is taking someone somewhere, and then all of a sudden out of nowhere they fight for some reason. For no reason. For absolutely no reason. Other than, oh, it's been X amount of time, so we need a fight. And it's like, you stopped the plot time and time again to have a fight. and you don't need it. It's Mortal Kombat. There's going to be a tournament. I figured, okay, yeah, like at the, this isn't spoiler this is not a spoiler, by the way, because if Mortal Kombat is a tournament where people fight and then they kill each other. It's not a spoiler. So you figured that was going to be like in the movie, right? So you're like, okay, that's where all the fighting is going to happen. Nope, it's like fighting, and that doesn't make a good movie. I couldn't tell. The tone of this movie was all over the place. The music was fine, and the tone was all over this place. Was all over the place. And the reason why I say that, the first 15 minutes of this movie I thought were awesome. I genuinely enjoyed and was surprised with the first 15 minutes of this movie. I was like sick. I was like, if this is the tone, and if this is if they're here, this is what, and it's what they, oh, sorry, I didn't mean to bump the mic, but this is what they set up. I was like, I'm in, rock solid, gone, let's do it. And then once that 15 minutes was up, it shifted to a completely different tone. Now, I don't know why, the drastic difference in the tone is unbelievable. And then we just kind of meander and we don't really do anything. And then I have, if this was a more in-depth review of the movie, I would have more to say, but it did not impress me. I thought the dialogue was bad. I understand that's a video game film, but that doesn't give it an excuse to neglect character, to neglect, to really give us a, just basic continuity. There's one sequence, I'm not going to tell you when or where, but, and this is also my, because I'm an editor, it just happens. This is how I view movies, and I can't help it but view it this way. But there's a sequence where the sun just goes all over the place. In one shot, the sun will be directly behind somebody, and then it's over to the left in the next cut, and it drove me nuts. And I understand that probably doesn't bother most people, but for me it does. And that, among other things, right? Again, the fighting. I thought the fighting in this was not very good. The way that they cut around the fighting was not good, because quick cuts doesn't equal good fight choreography. That takes me out of the movie. If you've ever seen The Raid, or if you've ever seen The Raid 2, or if you've ever seen, heck, the Rush Hour films are a great example of how to do action. The Rush Hour films are amazing. Jackie Chan, watch him do stunt choreography. And usually when you cut around action like that, you're doing it because you're hiding. You're hiding either not so good action, or that's primary probably what it is, or you're trying to artificially pound in the audience heads an artificial pace to the movie. And when it happens, it's almost isn't this exciting? Isn't this fast paced, and isn't this music cool? But if you step back for a second and really kind of analyze the stuff you're watching, you really need to be all right, what's the point? Where's the story going? Who am I rooting for? Why are they fighting? And if and I don't think that's, some people, all right, you want to shut your brain, off, cool, that's fine. But I just wonder, I'm not a big Mortal Kombat fan, but I have to think, if this was a property that I loved, and I got a product like this, I would feel cheated. I'd be whoa, because it feels almost and I'm not saying that the filmmakers didn't care, and I'm not saying that the filmmakers didn't take it seriously, but something happened. Something happened where they, or they can, because they said that they want to make 4 more of these things, right? Which I'm cool with. Make 4 more of them. this series has it wasn't terrible, right? It was a major letdown for me. It doesn't have a lot of it doesn't have a lot there. It's just like, okay. And I wonder about the longevity of the franchise. If you just made this to get it out of your system, if the pandemic affected your budget, so this is the highest performing movie on HBO Max, by the way. It beat Wonder Woman, it beat Godzilla versus Kong, and it beat Justice League. So it's the highest performing movie on HBO Max, which is cool. Like, bravo. And again, like I said, they made this for $57 million, which is a fairly small budget compared to normal movies. Not normal movies, but bigger Hollywood movies. So hopefully in the sequel, if they can have more time to develop the sequel, because like I said before, filmmakers are rushed nowadays. Okay? Marvel's good at it because Marvel has people at the top that care. Okay? Marvel has people at the top that give a shit. Other filmmakers in the industry, it's hard to tell who at the like in these other companies who at the top really gives a shit. It's hard. And if the next Mortal Kombat can have more time to develop a good story and make us root for characters, they set some stuff up for the sequel that like is pretty cool. But I have to, and this has happened in franchises before, but I really feel like if we get 4 more of these movies, you know, in retrospect, you're going to look back at the whole franchise and you're going to be like, you can just skip the first one. And the reason why I say that is because nothing changes in the universe. There's like one thing, I guess, that changes. Okay? Like I get, okay, 2 things that change, but they're not big things. At least we don't know because we don't watch the franchise. But from the start of the movie to the end of the movie, nothing in terms of the conflict between like Earthrealm and like Outworld or whatever, like nothing changes. And I think that's a problem. And they said it, though I can't spoil much of anything, but like, and I'm sorry, like these are just my honest opinions of the movie. So yeah, I wasn't a fan. I felt like it was, and I thought it was not lazy, but like, it just, I expected more. I expected very little, and then it delivered very little, and then that disappointed me. And it was touted that like, oh, like this one's made for the fans, blah, blah, blah. It's like, okay, then take the source material, use your skill as storytellers and as filmmakers to craft something better than just the game. Like, that's your job. And I don't think they executed it very well, to be honest. And like I said, at the end of this franchise, you will be able to be like, yeah, you can just skip the first one because the second one is really where they started. This is the real more, you know, this is where the story really starts, is the second movie. You got, you know, we can come back years from now and we can pull this clip up, and I guarantee, like, I do think they will get, I do think they'll get it together. I do think the sequel will be much better, because this whole movie felt like setup. This whole movie was like, we have to introduce people to Mortal Kombat. And the exposition in this movie was I wanted to like rip like my brain out. Like, I can't, like when characters just talk to you and just tell you things, like the whole movie, like I can't do it. I can't. Like, in movies, you're supposed to show. It's a visual medium. We're watching things happen on the screen. So if I'm sitting there and people are just talking to each other and spilling out exposition, and I watched videos on Mortal Kombat. Okay, I'm not a huge Mortal Kombat fan, but like I watched about 5 hours worth of Mortal Kombat lore. So I got all the references. I did my homework. I was like, I want to know. Otherwise, I would have probably been completely lost if I didn't do that. So, but either way, if I'm giving this a rating, I give this like a D+. I guess if we're on the scale, is a D+. It did not meet my expectations. The first 15 minutes did, but then the tone shifted and then it annoyed me with the sun changing. So either way, those are my opinions. I hope you enjoy the movie. I hope that the sequel is 10 times better. And like I said, the pandemic. Now, the pandemic could have affected, probably did affect the production of this movie, no doubt. So I'm hoping that next go around they can get a little bit more money because they are the most success. You know, it's a success for the times we're living in right now. It's a success. So I wish the filmmakers good luck, and just be very critical and be very mindful of the story that you're telling in the second one. And I hope they have a plan. That's the other thing. If they don't have a plan for where this franchise is going to go, that also scares me. I guess we don't know until they make a second one. Emmett says, watch the OG. I did watch the OG. I've seen the OG. I thought the OG was much better. Straight up, I'm going to be honest. I don't know. I haven't been keeping up with the chat, so I don't know if you've seen the movie or not. But let's read what we got in the chat here. The video games are better cinematic experiences. Okay, so you have seen the movie. Okay. The fighting might have been good. We will never know. I was so pissed because the whole of Mortal Kombat is from that one angle. Give me the iconic... Yeah, okay. Yeah, I agree. Like, they never gave you that iconic angle. And there were some bits that... Yeah, so... No, the fight scenes weren't impressive. If you haven't watched it, see, I can't recommend it. Wait till the sequel. Honestly, just wait till the sequel. Just wait till they make the next one. Watch the next one. I'm hoping it, but don't skip this one. Watch the next one. Oh, were you saying watch the OG to Mandy? Yeah. That makes sense. I thought that was me. I was like, oh, I've seen the if you're new here, we talk about movies and we give our opinions. So if you are around and if you want to drop a like and if you like this type of content and you enjoy talking about movies and you have opinions, come in the chat. I encourage you guys to join me in the chat. Don't be afraid to come in and voice your opinion. If you want to challenge me on my opinion about Mortal Kombat or about anything that I talk about, I'm open to it. You come challenge me. I have my opinion, and you can have your opinion, and that's cool. But yeah, that is my review of Mortal Kombat. As my mouth is dry. Chat is so much fun. Welcome, Ronnie. How are you? Oh, dude, I gotta take these off. It's like hot. I got this cool hat. It's X-Men. I really like this. I love this hat. So, X-Men. Xavier School for Gifted Youngsters. It's pretty awesome. Enjoy the hat. My screen brightness go down? That's funky. Do we want to move on? Do we have any more thoughts on Mortal Kombat, or do we want to move on to the last portion of the show, which is the thesis? I think I'm just going to move there because I have a lot to say about the thesis. Okay, so I'm going to switch, and then it's going to like show you my screen. It's going to be like, oh my goodness. But here, we got this. All right, sick. So, I think you guys can hear me, right? Let me know if you can hear me. Please and thank you. I'm pretty sure I enabled my audio for this screen, but I just want to make sure. Sweet. Yeah, but anyways, so this is kind of, so I started, so writing process has taken a long time. That's kind of what happens with me. I tend to have ideas and then they fly over a different direction, and it's like a it's like molding, right? You're like molding with clay. That's how I look at filmmaking, and I take it kind of very literally, where it's like I don't and I try not to be married to any idea. I really try to lock in on a tone, or like how I want something to feel, or maybe for me it's very technical. Like I've explained this before, but like I approach things in a very technical way. So if there's something technical that I want to pull off or that I want to achieve, that's usually what guides me in the film that I want to make. You can't hear what I just said. Oh no. Give me 1 second. Give me 1 second. Oh, you guys. Okay. So yeah, like I said, it comes down to this. So writing has happened, and I've started to create a mood board. And I will give you like a rough synopsis, I guess, of what the movie's about. I say that like I don't know what the movie's about, even though I do. So, as you can see, we got some nice alien here, right? And you're probably like, what is going on with the alien? So, my film, it's a thriller, not a thriller. Well, it's sort of like a thriller. I approach this movie I want to have fun, and I want to show off my technical ability, right? I think every movie that you make, and again, this is different for everybody, but I'm not studying to be a director, right? I'm not studying to, I want to collaborate with good directors, right? But this thesis film in particular is to show off my ability to tell a story visually and my technical skills. Like that's honestly what the goal of this movie is. And I know that going in. And I'm telling that's like I don't keep that from anybody, My goal, like you have to be transparent. You have to let everybody know that who you're working with, what the goal is for the thing you're creating. You always need to do that. Because you can get in a spot where people think that the movie's one thing, or that they give high hope, or they have hopes that it's going to be something that it's not. And I'm the leader of the project, so I need to communicate exactly what it is I'm going for and exactly what it is I intend to achieve with this movie. And if people are on board, and if people are, if you can get behind it, cool. So that's the goal. But anyways, so I've started to create some mood boards. The film opens up. So the film takes place in a laboratory. This alien gets out, and then a janitor character basically needs to escape the alien, needs to survive, and needs to not die from the alien. Now, I've specifically kept character kind of not backstory, but character development and who my main character is. I've kept that kind of loose, and the only reason why I'm doing that is because I've casted someone a few weeks ago, who I'm friends with, and I'm meeting with them on Sunday. I've casted a few people. I have a meeting with an actor on tomorrow, and then I have a meeting with an actor on Sunday. And I really want to sit down with them and let them establish the character. I specifically wrote the film. This is not how I started to write the film, but I got to the point where I was like, you know what? Like, I was struggling with the characters and the characterization and who the characters were. It was hard for me to wrap my mind around that. And like I said, I haven't studied directing. I'm not going to sit here and say that like I know how to direct actors, because I don't have a ton of experience doing that. What I do have experience doing is I know how to cut things, and I know how to, and I've studied cinematography. So I feel like I'm pretty good at I can establish a tone visually, and I understand what that is, and rhythms and cutting. I can do that very, very well. So I'm just trying to lean into my strengths, and I'm hoping that with my collaborators and other people that I've brought on to help me write the music. Hey. And also Ronnie is also helping me write. So I have collaborators that are, if they can kind of get on the ride and if they can kind of enjoy and use, and again, every single project that I try to do, I want it to be a collaborative vehicle where people can bring the best of themselves to the table. I'm cool with it. If you have an idea that's better than mine, we will rock with that and we will run with that. If I am stuck and if you come to me and you're like, hey, like I have some idea, cool. Like, let's hear your idea. I love ideas. So when people come to me with an idea, I'm usually like, awesome, because I don't have, sometimes I can't think of it. Sometimes I kind of hit a roadblock. Sometimes I know exactly what I want, right? There are, in terms of like tone and how I'm going to execute things, like I very much know how things are going to get done. I just don't know story-wise where I want to take it or what the best thing is. And that takes practice. You know, sometimes, you know, like one of my classmates, he asked, what do you absolutely want in this movie? And that was hard for me to get out there, because I'm so kind of like, I love to collaborate so much that if somebody came to me with a crazy wild idea that was slightly different and took this film in a different direction, I'd probably go with it. And the reason why I think I'm so comfortable with that is because, one, I've been on a lot of projects that have failed. I've failed a lot, right? I've been in charge when I was like 20. I was shooting a music video where I had a crew of like 30 plus people. And that was the first time I had ever been in any position like that. And I failed hard. Okay. Like my DP came to me and he was like, what do you want the film to look like? And all this other stuff. And I didn't know how to answer his questions straight up. And so I just kind of like, 20-year-old me, I was like, man, I was excited because I was making a movie, but I was in that headspace of like, I didn't understand my responsibility to him, and I didn't understand what he was asking me, and I didn't understand that it was okay for me to let him know that I didn't know how to answer his questions, and I didn't open myself up enough to learn from him, right? So, but and every movie is a lesson. Every time you make a film, every time I do this show, it's a lesson, right? I mean, if you've been here from the beginning, you understand that the quality and the level of production has risen, and it's on purpose. That's intentional, and I try to learn every time I do this type of stuff. So, but either way, so the movie opens up with an exterior shot, and I've started to make boards, by the way, so that's cool. So we have an exterior shot. There's a bunch of CG buildings out there on the interwebs. So I'm going to use a CG building from this pack, and we're going to comp it in. I do have experience with After Effects. I have experience with some CG stuff. So I'm fairly confident that like we can pull this off. Like I'm not, I don't have any delusions. I know my capabilities, and I know how far I want to push myself. And that's something that's hard to do, right? I know a lot of people, but I'm not afraid to fail. You know what I'm saying? I'm not afraid to fail. I would rather, I was thinking about this the other day, and by all means, I don't see this as I can't, in my mind, I cannot fail. And it's not like, there may be some things that need to be cut. There may be some things that need to be reworked at the last minute. That's fine. That's cool. But I understand that I'm going to come out of this experience a much better filmmaker, like 10 times better than I was before I started this process. And that's how every project needs to be. If you want to do this is, I believe that's the mindset that you need to have. You need to be realistic with yourself. And that's what I mean when I say that, like, I have the ability to pull this off because I've worked hard. I've spent hours and hours learning how to do certain things in order to make a vision like this possible. But anyways, so here's our mood. Like, this is kind of like the costume for the janitor that like I want. These are more like, so this category is tone, right? So this is kind of the tone that we're going for, in terms of lighting, right? We might have some some mixed tonal lighting going on there. And then in terms of lighting, mainly this is just lighting basically. So yeah, something like this. What's up, Brad Pitt? It's always a good looking man, so you got to throw him in there. I will get to your comments fairly soon. Oh. Whoop, whoop. Okay, so this is the alien model. So there are alien models online. I don't think we're going to use this one, and the only reason why I say that is because this dude looks awesome, and I would love to use this guy, but he has like 8 limbs, and I don't know about you, but I don't want to. He's not in a lot of the movie, right? Like he's only in a few scenes. So that, and again, I wrote to my strengths. I understood that like I don't want to animate this guy, and I don't have the time, right? Like there's a deadline for this movie, so I realized like I can't have this dude, I can't have this alien in the whole movie. I'd love to, and if there was no deadline, I would make the movie how I want to make it, and he would be in a lot more of the movie. But due to the constraints that I have, he's just not allowed. I've not allowed him to be in the movie as much. I told him, you cannot be in the movie, man. You look cool, but you can't. And we've even changed it too, because rigging the character, and if you don't know what rigging is basically like building the skeleton so you can animate him. Rigging and animating all 8 of those limbs sounds like a nightmare. And I don't have the budget to pay an animator, so realistically I'm going to be doing a lot of the animation myself. But that also helps because and another big motivator for why I went this direction with my film is because we are getting motion capture suits. They are supposed to come in July. If they do, they're supposed to. It's a startup company in Germany that's making the suits. So we ordered them. They're supposed to be here. If they're not here, that's fine. That's why I limited his screen time in the script, because there's other ways you can get mocap data. So if the suits are here, or if we have to push his shots off, like finishing his shots to the end of the schedule, that's fine. We'll have to see. But anyways, so this is not the monster I'm going to use. I'm going to use a different one that has like 4 limbs and is a lot easier to rig and is a lot easier to animate. So let's go down here. All right, so here we go. I will answer the questions right after I finish this, and I will get to the chat. This right here, so this is CG tests, right? So bloop, 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 bloop. So this is a CG. Oh, I don't know. Okay, so this is a CG render that I did. This is basically so there's a scene where the monster's in the cage, right? And he breaks out of the cage and he kills a guard, basically. I'm basically probably going to spoil the movie for you throughout the process of making this movie. So sorry, but that's okay. I'm not somebody that's going to sit. I'm not somebody that like, I don't guard my stories with, I want people to know what's up. I want people to know what I'm doing. And in order to do that, you have to explain things to people. You have to tell people what your intentions are. So, but anyways, so this is like a crate, right? It's just like a cargo crate thing that I turned on its side. I textured it and I lit it to kind of give you the vibe. Like this isn't exactly how it's going to look, but this is kind of the vibe that I'm going for, right? This is why the whole mood board. It's why you create these things so that you can communicate to your crew and you can communicate to the people that are making the movie with you exactly what you're trying to do. And this, again, it takes effort. It takes time. This took me, I don't know. I didn't model this. I found the model, but this probably took me like 2 hours to do, like 2 hours of my day to get this done. And then here's the same crate. Okay. So this is also to show people that like, I can incorporate CG objects into the real world, right? Like this is the whole reason why I did this. Again, intention is so crucial. And letting people understand, one, that you're capable, because I don't want anybody to come on my crew and think that I don't have the ability to pull it off. Okay? Like I said, that's why I told you the story about when I was like 20 and when I wasn't prepared and when I didn't have the skills to pull it off. And it didn't come out how I wanted it to. I learned my lesson, and so Some may say that I over prepare, but I'd rather be over prepared than under prepared. And I'd rather know almost like, I don't have to know everything, right? But I need to have answers for when people do come to me and they need to know a specific thing, right? But anyways, so this crate right here, this was all comped in CG. So this isn't real, right? This is the same thing as this, okay? And I basically just took the shot and I comped it in there. Basically, when I say comp, I mean compositing. So it's textured and then it's lit in 3D. And basically, this is your motivation, right? So I just have a light, a CG light up here, right? And I basically just tried to, oh, stop. Oh my goodness. I just tried to match the tone as best I could, right? I didn't spend a ton of time on this. I probably spent like an hour probably on this. Like I said, the thing was already textured. So I just had to, I imported a virtual camera, right? Like a virtual camera. And then you can import the image like it's like an overlay. And so I just lined it up, right? So I just got the perspective right. And then I just rendered out a frame. This was a shot that moved, but for my purposes, I didn't render out the whole shot because I didn't need to. The whole purpose of this was just to show you like, oh yeah, like we can get CG objects in the real world. It can cast a shadow. Like it can look decently believable. Is it the best thing in the world? No. And that's also something to think about too, is like, I understand, again, this is a low budget, like thriller film, you know, like not really horror, but I mean, there's going to be some horror moments. I got some crazy ideas that I want to pull off. So like people are going to be ripped in half and there's going to be like people hanging from ceilings and wires and electric sparks. It's going to be crazy. I'm pushing myself with this, but that's good. That's good. You should always feel a little nervous. You should always feel a little like, can I do this? No matter what level it is, you know what I'm saying? But for me, I've spent probably the last year and a half like diving into CG and really trying to figure out how to do CG because it's something that interests me, you know? If something piques my interest, I go all out. Like I go hard. Like I want to know how things are done. Let's go over. We'll zoom out so you're not so close on that. Whoa. Oh, here. Blah. All right. So now we get to the actors, right? I think that's all we need. Come on. The actors. All right. Whatever. Here you go. So this picture is really blurry, but this is Joe. Joe is my lead actor. He's going to play Jason, who is the janitor character. I've worked with Joe before. He was in my other short film that I directed about 2 years ago, which is on the channel. It's called Reach. You can go watch that if you haven't seen that. So yeah, like I just, you know, he's a really good actor and we just get along and like our working relationship is really cool and he believes in me and like that's kind of what you need and you know like what you need in an actor. And I'm really, like I said, I'm going to meet with him this weekend and I really like, we're going to go over the script and I want to hear his input. I want to be like, what do you want? Like, let's figure out this character together, you know? Because I don't like to be the type of director or the type of creator that tells people what they need to do. Right? It's like, no, like you need to say the line like this, or like you need to, you know, so whatever Joe wants to bring to the character. And I have my own personal experiences that I want to talk to him about too, because there are certain things that I want in the character for sure. It's not like I'm going in completely blind, but I want to leave it open to him as well. And then there's another security guard, / friend of Jason's in the movie, played by Casey McNeil here. Casey McNeil, I'm going to meet with him on tomorrow, actually. I have 2 meetings tomorrow. I have one with him, and then I have one with my cinematographer. So I'm gonna meet. I've not met Casey in person. I have not worked with him. I sent him the script. He really thought it was a fun time. He really thought it was cool, and so he's in. So I'm excited to talk to him tomorrow and get to know him, and hopefully get him really excited. And maybe he can come up with some cool ideas too. So, you know what I'm saying? Film is a collaborative medium, and it should always be that way. So I think that's it. Oh, and then oh yeah. I guess we have up here we have, don't we? So this is just composition. So oh, and by the way, this is Milanote, and so I'm just gonna show this off real quick. So this is compositions. So these are frames that like I really want, like when the cage, when the alarm goes off, right, and like the people in the building are notified that the alien is broken out. Like I want a shot like this. Like this is something that I pulled from a trailer, and I just love like the light clicking on, like, and this kind of bluey atmosphere. This may be like where the cage is, you know. It's very blue, and then you just get like, it might be a green light, it might be a red light, probably will be a red light, but yeah. I love this shot. If we can find a place that has like stairs like this, like I want a shot like this. So, and we have the capability of doing it. My DP has a drone, so we can get up there if we need to, and yeah. I really like this high angle right here, you know, where it's a little Dutch angle. It's kind of tilted, but it's up high. And I think this is super important to go look at, you know, for me, I look at movies. Like that's where I draw my inspiration from. You can draw your inspiration from all sorts of places, and I don't just look at movies, right? Like fine art painting. I don't look at that as much as I probably should, but I know you can draw a lot of inspiration from that. Other CG art out there, you know what I'm saying? Like I like go on ArtStation, go on 500pix.com, 500px.com. They have a ton of images that you can just search, and just, it's all about tone, it's all about mood, and again, it's all about what do you want out, you know, whatever. Like you see an image, and usually like whatever speaks to you about that image, it speaks to you for a reason. So you just should identify it and then include it in your work, you know, like, and figure out why. You know, it's like, oh, I saw this image. Why do I like this image? You know, is it the color? Is it the composition? Is it, you know, whatever it is, and then just apply it to your work. Whoops, sorry. Oh my goodness. But yeah. So yeah, I think that's it in terms of where I'm at with the oh yeah, and then I have some so so last night, so I started to storyboard some of the movie. And I took this photo, and I created a CG model of him. So it's like a CG model of Joe that I'm using for my storyboards. And that's another thing that I'm doing is I plan not the whole movie maybe, but like a good portion, like a good majority of the movie, like I'm going to have boarded before we even go shoot. That's just the way that I like to work. That's the way I work on most projects. Is we just live in a world today where like it's totally possible to just board your whole movie and then go cut it. You can go cut it in software and add sound effects and add sound design, simple sound design or whatever, add temp music. Like I really believe that it'll make the project 10 times better if you are able to show things to people before you get on set, you know. And that's why you have meetings with people. You have, you know, I'm having a meeting with my DP tomorrow, and we're going to be looking at this, and we're going to be going through the script. The script is still evolving, and the script is still changing, and the script will probably change all the way up to the end of, until we're ready to shoot. And then it'll probably still change on set. That's what happens, you know? But we have some very cool ideas. There's some very cool equipment that we are lucky enough to have from my DP. And then also the mocap suits will be cool, and that allows us to do a lot of things with the CG, and, you know, we're going to be ripping bodies, and, you know, like the Casey guy gets like, we see him, we come back to him, but he's chopped in half. So he's going to lose half of his body, and like, it'll take time, but it'll be worth it. So, but it's all about planning, you know, planning. You can never plan enough for movies. You can never plan enough. And so, yeah. So that is where I'm at. I'm excited. I will probably I'm going to start doing production, or like vlogs. I'm going to start doing production vlogs tomorrow, obviously, because I have a few meetings that I'm going to go to. And yeah, we will start the production vlogs that will be on the channel soon. I don't know how often they'll be uploaded, but they will be uploaded. And then obviously we'll do this show every week. so you'll get an update. I'll probably play you guys the cuts. Like, I'm cool. Like, just having an editing session straight up. Like, I don't think I can take, when it gets down to the thick of things and we're like cutting away, the show may just straight up be on Thursday nights. You're just sitting here watching me do my work. That's probably what's going to happen. It's going to have to happen. So, and I'm cool with that. And if you guys are cool with that, it's awesome. But let's see what the chat has to say. What the, okay, yeah, so yeah. Ahmed, one thing you got to know is like, especially when like we're in this environment, like, man, jokes just go over my head. Jokes just go over my head, dude. Like I don't process them. Will you be posting your film here when it's done? Maybe. I don't know. And the reason why I say that is because if we want to enter it into festivals, I can't show it. It depends on what the festival is, but most festivals don't want you to upload to YouTube and I can't say that word, but show it somewhere else. So that is to be determined. Kiwan wants me to get a shot of someone moonwalking in the suits. You know what? If Joe will moonwalk, I'll put it in the movie. I will put it in the movie. He is listening to music in the opening scene. He's listening to his headphones. So Kiwan, for you, I will do my best. If Joe is down for it, we will get the moonwalk in there. I promise. Tyson, welcome, Tyson. Thank you, Tyson, for congratulating me. I appreciate it. Oh, Ronnie says I can upload after the festivals are over. Yeah, so it'll come eventually. It's just a premiere status. Yeah. Ronnie's actually won some festivals, which is cool. I don't know how many festivals she's won, but I know she has won some, which is super cool. I've never entered a festival, so I guess this will be my first time that I'll try to enter a festival, and we'll see how it goes. Oh, okay. Still, I mean, that's still really cool. Yeah, I mean, hey, if it's, it's going to be crazy. It's going to be nuts. And like but it's going to be fun. Like that's the whole point, man. Like my hair's probably wild. How crazy is my hair right now? Woo, look at that. I look like Sonic the Hedgehog. No, it'll be fun. I mean, these actors, man, like I have full confidence in my actors. These guys are awesome. They're going to bring it. My whole team is just everybody. Like that's one thing too, that like my classmates, like I appreciate every single one of them because they've helped me a ton. That's what I love about the environment that I'm in right now. And kind of, the early stages of your career, right? Which I consider that's where I'm at, and it's important to be open, it's important to not be afraid, and I'm not. I'm not afraid. Like I said, I firmly believe I have the ability to execute this. I've had the ability to execute this for a while. I mean, and I'm the type of person where it's like, I know, like I just kind of let things, not that like, oh, I let things happen, right? Because I clearly work towards certain goals. I work towards certain things that I want. But in terms of making things, right? Like it's just kind of like when the time is right, things fall into place. And I believe I've met a ton of talented people. I've met people who will give me honest criticism, and who will kind of, but who encourage me, right? Like, and I think that's the biggest key is you have to surround yourself with people who are going to be honest with you And there have been moments where like my mind has gone super crazy, and a couple friends of mine have been like, bring it back down. Remember, like, you only have a few months to do this. Like, bring it back down. But they understand my drive, and they understand my passion, and they understand what I'm capable of. And I think that's like in terms of potential, right? Like not just currently, but like what I'm capable of. And there's a lot of people in my life who have encouraged me to keep pushing, right? I believe that like I have an innate ability to do that myself. I can push myself fairly well. But it always helps to encourage people. And if this channel and if this community that we build, if this can help you create something of your own and inspire you and motivate you to push yourself even further than you thought you could go, by all means. I mean, that's the whole point of this. You know, that's the whole point of this channel specifically, is to love movies, explore movies, examine what makes movies good, what makes movies bad. Not necessarily things. And again, I don't think there's such a thing as a bad movie, really, because there's all sorts of different tastes. But wait till we get to the editing process, because once we get to the editing process, I'm going to be brutal with myself, right? I'm going to be brutal. You're going to see me be like, nope, this has got to go. And I might Frankenstein it. I might change it completely. There may be things that don't work. We may have to hide some certain things or whatever. The biggest thing for me right now is I think that we will get to the point where, and again, I'm trying to scale it back and be as realistic as I possibly can given my time constraints, but my biggest fear is that there's going to be shots that just aren't done. You know, we'll get close, but there will be shots that won't be done. So that's my biggest fear. I am bringing on other people, right? Like I'm going to bring on another editor so that like because I will probably be focusing mainly on the majority of the CG stuff. And then I will do a rough cut, right? Like I can cut fast. I've been cutting for a long time. So that's the whole reason why I board the film before we go shoot, because I understand visually and pacing wise what I want. And that necessarily, like, that's the director in me, I guess. But it's a good, like, it's my job to provide a starting base, right? Like, I need to present the world. I need to present the direction. I need to present the tone. I need to say, this is what I see visually. Because if you're, again, and not everybody is like this, but if you're in the film, if you're a filmmaker, you should think visually. I would assume that almost, not every filmmaker, again, there are some people who don't, right? And for me personally, it excites me. Like I spend hours, like we just do this. Like I just work on things and come up with ideas. And like I was bored, and we were doing a thing for a client yesterday where we were creating a CG. There's like, they're giving a speech in a warehouse, and they wanted to know if we could recreate the warehouse and shoot it on green screen, right? The actor on green screen. They were like, oh, is it possible? Could you do that? And me and my partner, Zach, we said, yeah, like we can totally take care of that. But they wanted to see proof. They wanted to see a concept. So we got together and we shot the proof of concept for that. So we built the whole environment last night, and then we shot the green screen element, and then we composited it fairly decently, right? Like the director didn't give us what tone or how, like the mood of the shot. So we just kind of winged it, but we were like, yeah, it's possible. And then while we did that, I also scanned the picture of Joe and I made the 3D model of him, and I started boarding the movie. So I multitasked, but that's kind of like, and especially in the environment that my buddy Zach and I create, it's like we feed off of each other, and it's we'll talk about the thesis film, and then we'll talk about other projects we're doing, and it's a wild time. It's super cool. But so that was my night last night. And it's kind of addicting. And we were up till like 5 a.m, which I don't recommend being up till 5 a.m. all the time, which I'm not. But when it gets to when I start making things, like I cannot tell you how excited, like my body is so warm right now. I'm so warm. Like it's super cool. I'm so excited. And I'm excited to see like other people's films. You know, like I don't know. I'm all stoked. Spider-Man is hyping me up. My mouth is dry. Oh, it's sticking up a bit. I'm sorry. Well, thank you guys. I'm glad that you're here with me. I think if hopefully I'm not sticking. Hopefully I'm not sticking. We're gonna do a thing. Oh yeah. Okay. All right. I just waved my hands. I saw myself wave my hands. All right. So let's get back over. Let's get back over to the goodness. Whoa, we flew, didn't we? Man, there we go. Pow. All right, we're back. I think that's gonna be the show. That's all I've had for today. I don't have anything else. Thank you guys so much for being here. If you're new here, if you enjoyed this content, if you want to see more production about the thesis, if this interests you, if filmmaking is something that you're interested in, if you enjoy the process of filmmaking, this channel is a place to be. I want to, let's build a community. I want to talk about your films. Bring your stuff in. Let us see what you're working on. Whatever. I'd love to have guests on the show. Me talking to myself is not, like it would be nice to have someone else on the show too. It'd be really cool. So I look forward to establishing that in the future. More movie news as it comes out. I will, I'll let you know. For the majority of the future of the show is probably going to be geared more towards Thesis for the next few months. So you will just kind of see that develop, and that's kind of what we got planned. You can subscribe to support the channel. It's greatly appreciated. I did want to play, so we have a new subscriber. Arrival Entertainment just subscribed to us 4 days ago. So I wanted to play the little thing for them. Thank you so much, Arrival Entertainment, for subscribing. We recently just passed like 100 subscribers, which is super cool. It's awesome. I'm excited. The more people we have in the community, the more people will get to see what we're doing. I also run a channel called The Young Calves. It's all one word, The Young Calves. That channel is run by myself and my partner, Zach. You can head over there. We do a lot of gaming on that channel, and we also do pop culture and movie news on that channel too. So I kind of run both of them. And yeah, that's fun. We have like a few other people that are going to join that channel too. And they have gaming news shows that they're going to be putting on. So a lot of stuff going on. School's about to end. Thesis film's about to like get just be knocked out of the park. And the future is bright. And that's kind of what I always tell myself, like obviously like you want to be like, yeah, the future, like, but always push yourself and don't settle, like push yourself and don't let yourself settle for anything less than what you know you're capable of. And in today's world, if you dig hard enough within yourself and online too, I mean, like that's the thing, like it just takes time. It just takes time, and not everybody has a ton of time. I understand that, but if you can schedule where you just have a chunk of time a day to do something you're really passionate about, like it really helps you. I think it really helps it helps you relax. It helps you focus. You don't get so stressed out. I can tell you, I think that's the biggest thing about my life is I'm so immersed in what I love that like I do get stressed, but like I don't like, I guess angry, I guess is the word to say. I don't know. I don't feel like a very angry person. And I think that has a lot to do with the fact that I make sure that people like self-care. Well, for me, a lot of self-care is producing the show. Like I love to do the show. I love to produce things. I love to make things for people. That's something that I love to do. So for me, that's kind of what my self-care looks like. This is what my self-care looks like, basically. So, but anyways, with that being said, thank you so much for your support. I can't wait to update you. Like when we start shooting and everything, you'll get behind the scenes stuff. You'll get to see footage. Like it's gonna be great. But yeah, with that being said, I'm out of here. Oh my goodness, I just dropped. There's 2 backgrounds. Holy cow. But anyways, all right. With that being said, I'm out of here. Have a good week. Have a good Friday. Have a good weekend. Keep pushing yourself. If you're making something, go at it hardcore. We'll make it together. And yeah, bye-bye. Hit the button, Tyler. Hit that button.